Chapter 8. The moon was low in the sky when Indigo and Knox awoke. They stretched and yawned lazily, trying to wake themselves up. The last light of day was fading. It was time for them to continue on their journey to their new home. They had spent most of the day resting, tired from their overnight run. They drank plenty of water and ate a number of squirrels in preparation for the long night ahead. They were no longer concerned about being tracked by the pack. The distance was too great, and they had been careful not to leave a trail away from their old home. They were on their own now. Knox walked to the stream and took a long drink. When he was finished, he looked up at Indigo. "You have blood on your cheek, Indy," he said. Indigo caught his reflection in the clear water. He lowered his cheek to the stream, dipped his paw into the water, then wiped his cheek with his paw to remove the last traces of his dinner. He raised his face to Knox for his approval. "Perfect. Right, let's get moving. We still have a long way to go." The brothers left the forest more or less where they had entered, so they would be sure of their direction. They looked around to get their bearings, then headed southwest on their original course. They ran for hours as they had the night before. The trip was simply a means to an end. They did not intend to enjoy the ride. They paid little attention as they passed through field after field, crossing many roads and skirting around towns and villages. They stayed out of sight, choosing fields with long grass or tall crops as much as possible. On a few occasions, when they picked up the scent of a fox or a human dog, they quickened their pace to get beyond the boundaries of the other dog's territory swiftly, avoiding the possibility of an altercation. Foxes were no match for their strength, and most human dogs would run from two adult wolves, but they did not take any risks. There was nothing to be gained from such interactions. They had no territory or fresh kill to defend, no pack to protect. Fighting would only lose them precious time. Worse still, they could get injured, potentially causing significant delays. They wanted to be settled into their new territory before the first signs of winter. It was best to stay unnoticed, even if it meant taking the long way around. Their path took them through a meadow with a small herd of sheep. The sheep were congregated in one area, curled up and fast asleep. Under the bright light of the moon, the brothers could see there were a number of young lambs, perhaps only a few weeks old, nestled beside their mothers. Knox froze, entranced by the sight of such an easy meal. Indigo turned to follow his gaze. "Not a good idea, Knox," he said. "If we disturb them, they will make a racket which could attract the humans." Knox ignored him. The squirrels had been tasty, but they had not fully satisfied his hunger. A lamb, or maybe even a sheep, would keep him going for much longer. The sheep were sitting ducks. There would be so little work involved, no stalking or chasing, that it seemed almost wasteful to pass up the opportunity. Knox lowered his body into a crouch and started to move slowly towards the sheep. Despite the bright moon, his black coat made him almost invisible, like a shadow moving across the darkened field. Indigo was stunned. How could he be so stupid? They had been so careful up to now. Why attract attention over a lamb? Yes, it was a bigger meal than the squirrels, but squirrels were easy prey. They could catch more in the morning when they took cover to rest. This action was unlikely to end well. Despite Knox's stealth, the bleating lamb would surely wake its mother, and a commotion would ensue. Even if the humans didn't come straight away, they would be alerted to their presence in the morning and would come looking for them. It was nearly morning already, and ideally they should be stopping soon. Attracting attention would mean they would have to go further before resting, risking being seen in daylight. It was reckless, and Knox should know better. Indigo crept forward as silently as he could, trying to catch up with Knox before he got to the sheep. "This is a bad idea, and you know it," he whispered. "There's no way you can get one without waking the others. They will panic and flee, bleating and making a racket. When the humans see what has happened, they'll be on our tail. It's just not worth it." Knox paused, but did not take his eye off his target, a small lamb sleeping a short distance from its mother. He crept closer, screening out Indigo and his warnings. He was almost upon them. Some shuffled in their sleep, but they did not seem to have noticed him. He was within striking distance when he suddenly relaxed his posture. This was too easy. Without the chase, there was just no fun in the kill. He turned silently and slunk back to Indigo, who heaved a heavy sigh of relief. "Wise decision," Indigo said, giving Knox undue credit for his change of heart. They moved quietly until they were safely out of earshot. Then they sped off again through the fields.